Hello, good day, everybody, and thank you for joining us for another edition of our webinar series. And this time we have teamed up with our great friends over at ERP Connect Consulting. We're going to take a look at their enhanced dashboards and automation solutions for Dynamics 365 Business Central. So we'll dive straight into this and talk a little bit about our agenda for our time today. So we'll do some brief introductions to begin. And then we're going to jump right into a live demo where you can actually see these dashboards and automation solutions in action. Quickly to introduce sa.global as an organization. So, we've been around for a very long time, over 30 years in business, and we've also been recognized by Microsoft as one of the premier partners in the world. So, we're excited for the opportunity to present to you today, and appreciate any sort of follow-up or questions that you may have afterwards. And so my name is Jonathan Kroll. I am the Business Central product lead for our Americas group here at sa.global. And then we've got Ben and Grant, who I'll allow to give their own introductions for themselves before we jump into the content. So Ben, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that introduction. As far as myself, my name is Ben Cole. I'm out of Dallas, Texas. I'm the president over here at ERP Connect. We are an ISV that focuses on bringing automation, productivity, and dashboarding solutions, all natively built into Business Central. So everything you'll see today will look and feel like Business Central because it's all been natively built in Business Central. So that's one of the big value adds or advantages that we have when kind of unifying that user experience. And Grant, I can give your introduction if you want. Grant's our VP of Sales over at ERP Connect. So between the two of us, if you have any questions, please feel free to either put them in the chat or the questions today, or feel free to reach out to us after this webinar as well. We're always happy to help and always love talking to Business Central users. So excited for the demo today. Jonathan, anything else on your end, or should we jump into it?
Let's dive right in. Appreciate it, Ben.
Sweet. So I love that because that's about 3 minutes of slides, and I hate slideshows, so I like getting into the meat of it. So I'm going to jump over real quick to my, let's see, my other screen. Let me know if you guys can see that. It should say financial dashboard up at the top left here.
Yes, sir.
You're good? All right, perfect. So we're going to dive right into it. The first three things on the agenda for today are some of our dashboards. So specifically our financial dashboard, our sales dashboard, and our history and statistics dashboard. And as you can see, just kind of jumping into this already, this looks and feels like a Business Central screen, and it's all built natively in Business Central. So what the financial dashboard is going to do, I'm going to jump over back to the general tab real quick, is give you kind of a health check on all of your financial data related to Business Central. So as we come into the general overview tab, you'll see a few quick things that are going to be very important to your business, right? So we've got some KPIs that you can set. You set what goal you'd like to have here, and then it will track the actuals coming out of Business Central. So for example, I want to get my AP payments out on time 70% of the time. We're at 100%, so we're right on the goal there. My day sales outstanding, our goal is 25. In this case, you want to be below, right? You want to get that money in quicker, so we're at 14.68. Again, we're on goal. Whereas AR payments on time, we want to get paid 70% of the time on time, but we're only getting paid 36% of the time on time. So what can we do to improve that? And kind of indicating here again as a health check that we're just going to be short of that goal. And you kind of have that red green kind of indicator there as well. Moving over to the right, we've got our balance checks. This is always something that I see both from a new client perspective who maybe you're kind of doing an audit on your data, or of course, as you're doing an implementation to see at go live, is everything kind of checking out. So this is quickly going to tell you, is your subledger in balance with your general ledger? So again, something that people are periodically using, maybe weekly, to check in order to just do that health check on their business and make sure that everything's tying out. Again, down here, I felt that a financial dashboard wasn't really complete without some of your basic account schedules that they were called historically. Now they're the financial reports in Business Central, right? Ultimately the same thing though. So here you can pick your favorite 4 and you can put them in here and it will display that data. You can drill down into it. You can do like a 12-month income statement, just a bunch of different things to allow you to get that one-stop shop look and feel. You come into that financial dashboard, you can quickly see some of your KPIs, your balance checks, and some of those general financials like balance sheet and income statement. If you want to see some of those reports in a larger fashion, you can kind of just click on these buttons up here, Fin Report 1, Fin Report 2. And again, it's just going to take that data, break it out into a larger view that you can see. And again, like I mentioned, you can drill down into this and it'll show you exactly what those numbers make up or what those balances consist of. As we continue to move to the right, you'll notice that there's a lot of tabs up top here. So we've got the general, we went over the financial reports. AR and AP are probably my two favorite, simply because Business Central doesn't really have, in my opinion, a great way of showing accounts receivable and accounts payable data, right? You get that kind of nasty PDF that Microsoft gives you that shows in a not so great layout what your different aging buckets are and your different customers and maybe some contact information and things like that. So what we aim to do in kind of the why behind building these parts of the dashboard is to get that unified view. So here we can quickly see in our AR how much sits in each bucket, who are all of our past due customers. Again, I can sort that high to low. Maybe I want to know what this $5,300 is made up of. I can click on it. It's going to quickly show me the 4 invoices in this case, or if there's a payment that hasn't been applied, I guess, the 4 transactions that make up that total balance. And what you'll notice is this is just pulling right off the customer ledger entries. So by building it in Business Central and being able to utilize some of those key tables in Business Central, we stay in Business Central and are allowed to use kind of that out-of-box table or page in order to now do some more things, right? So I can export this to Excel, I can drill down and find the entries or apply the entries, right? Just from a dashboard, which is kind of unique outside of building, BI dashboards and things like that. You're in the system still so you can interact with the data. Let's jump back to that actual AR view. If I wanted to see everything that's in my 31 to 60 bucket, right? I've got $137,000. That makes up 28% of my total amount. Again, I can see all of the transactions, invoices, payments, credit memos that aren't applied that make up that balance. So again, just a quick and easy way to do things. You can hide buckets, kind of intuitive here, right? You can hide different things if you don't want to see them. And then as I come down here into my AR details, here's where I see kind of that summary AR aging, right? So I see all my customers, their locations, phone numbers, contacts, terms, when the last time they paid us was, what their credit limit is, and then this average paydays. So this is unique. This is a custom calculation that we've created, this average paydays. What the average paydays is going to do is it's going to look at your customer's payment history. You can look anywhere from the last 5 payments to the last 20. You get to pick, just depends on the volume typically. And based on those last 10 payments, let's say, on average, how quickly is that client paying? So it gives a true reflection based on their historic performance when they're actually paying, right? Because when we look at things like cash flow, which we'll get into here in a second, cash flow, if you're going off of payment terms, well, we know nobody pays on day 30 if their payment terms are net 30, right? They might pay on day 20, which is great, or they might pay on day 45, which is not so great. And that's the type of information we need in order to accurately cash flow forecast going out into the future. So we'll take that average paydays calculation and extrapolate that when we get over to our cash tab here. But again, continuing to go through this, we can see all of our balances, our different buckets out here. And if you said, hey, what's this transportation direct 11,000, they're 61 to 90, let's click into that. That'll show you exactly, in this case, 2 transactions that make up that amount, one for 9,800, one for 1,500. And again, you can drill down as deep as you'd like there, into the GL entries, into the posted transactions, all that good stuff. So if I continue to go through here, and again, if there's any questions, please drop them in the chat, and I will answer those as we go. But again, kind of the general why behind this is that we're trying to get it all directly embedded into Business Central and make it very easy for folks to just deploy and start using their data and analyzing their data. This only takes about 20 to 30 minutes to set up end to end, since most of the data is just pulling off of your out-of-box tables. So we'll continue to go through here before jumping into our sales dashboard. Again, this is dashboard number 1 of 3. We'll dive in deeper to some other dashboards here in a second, but we do have an inventory tab, a cash tab, and a sales tab here. So the next thing we're going to look at is our inventory. So again, we have a full-blown warehouse dashboard that we won't be able to have time to get into today, but as we look through inventory at a high level, think that health check again, right? How much inventory do I have at each location over here? How much inventory do I have by item category? So most of my inventory is computer hardware. Most of my inventory value is in Dallas currently, next in Chicago, and then in Tampa. Do I have any inventory warnings? Is anything negative, right? I've got a -8 on this Phantom Bob 1. that's maybe something I want to go look into. Any inventory adjustments that have been made, you can quickly see here, and then just kind of a full-blown inventory value and statistics. So that's just going to show every item, how many are on sales orders, purchase orders, on hand, your day supply, your lead time, your day supply lead time ratio, average daily sales, inventory valuations. Again, kind of a high level of that item, kind of what's everything that's going on there at a high level. I'm going to skip sales for now because we do have a full-blown sales dashboard that we're going to dive into. And the last thing I'll go into is cash, right? Cash is king. We want to know how much cash do we have in each account, how much do we have in liability accounts like credit cards and things like that, and then what's our cash flow forecast looking like. So if I look at my bank details right here, I can quickly see how much is in each bank account. I've got a more granular view, kind of like we looked at on that general tab, right? Posting group by posting group is each cash account in balance or out of balance. We got 2 that are good, we got 1 that's bad. I want to go clean that up, and then I want to turn direct posting off, right? So that we can make sure that doesn't happen again going into the future. Next, we've got liquid assets. So anything that it's going to take bank accounts combined with anything that you define as a liquid asset, maybe a clearing account that you know the money's going to come in within 2 to 3 days, but it's just sitting in that kind of clearing house. So those are the kind of things you'd include there. And then cash usage, this is going to be historic. How is cash performed? And then future cash forecast. So this is that one where we're talking about those average paydays, right? So this is taking a look at all of your AR, all of your AP. You can include release sales orders and purchase orders if you would like. And we have the ability to also include recurring expenses. It's kind of going to work like a Excel budget or one of those budgets in BC. So you kind of tell it, what are the recurring expenses or the maybe even recurring revenue that are never going to hit your subledger? They're just kind of booked at the end of the month. Maybe payroll is one of them, right? So it allows you to track those kind of things and make a really quick and easy cash flow forecast. And you can, I didn't go over this before, but you can export a lot of these down to Excel, right? So kind of out of box BC functions, click on the little down arrow, export cash forecast to Excel. That's going to show you a day by day kind of history of all of those cash metrics. So the last thing I'll touch on here is up top. We've got some different date ranges. So again, you can easily toggle between today, week to date, month to date, last 30 days, just a bunch of different preset filters. And then if you don't like any of the filters that we've set up for you, you can always come in here and create a custom date range of whatever days that you would like here. So again, try to make it as easy as possible. You kind of come in here, you're able to work with the data immediately. All you have to do is download it from AppSource. And I would say 80% of what you just saw is already to go. There's no configuration. And then the other 20% would be kind of like setting your KPIs, picking what income statement and balance sheet you'd like to see on that first page, and then just excluding or including any dimension values if you don't want to see certain dimension values on a report. So before I jump over to our sales dashboard, just want to see if there's any questions. Grant, can you monitor the chat and just let me know if there's anything that comes through, anything so far?
100%, Ben, and chat box and question box are looking clean.
I have a question, if I may, Ben.
Yeah, go for it.
Just around the user permissions, is who can sort of see what data related to these dashboards and how that might align to the native BC permissions.
Yeah, great question. So there is a global permission set that's either like kind of an all or nothing, right? So you have to have the, every app of ours has a 3-letter acronym. So this one would be the FDB. You'd have to have the FDB user in just the out-of-box permissions that you'd set up in BC. And then if you want to get more granular, you can come in here to user setup. And here's where you can set up each user. Maybe I don't want Grant to have AR, right? So I can uncheck him there, and he's only now going to see the general tab, the financials, AP, sales, inventory, and cash, right? So if you want to get more granular, you absolutely have the ability to do so. But if you just say, hey, everybody has everything, you can just assign the permission set and they'll be good to go.
That's great, thanks.
Definitely. And then while we're here, I don't typically demo this, but while we're here, you can also set what the default dashboard view is. So what you want to open up every time you go in. And you can also set a default dashboard date range. So maybe you always want to look at it trailing 12. You could set that in here, just say last 12 months. And then anytime Grant goes in, his default's going to be 12 months. You can obviously toggle it between the different date ranges, but that's just going to be your default. And then, I don't think a lot of people are probably doing this anymore, but we had this start timer and cycle view on timer. So, been in a few clients where they just put up on a giant 50-inch TV like their sales metrics, right? And what that's going to do is every minute it will cycle to a different tab, right? So you could have it up on your TV and just in the office have it cycle between all the different tabs automatically. So some bells and whistles, but it's there if you need it.
So Ben, we got another more of a comment than a question. This is amazing from Sean, and you can quote me following that.
Awesome, I'll take you up on that. Perfect. All righty, so let's jump over to our next one. Hopefully it just keeps getting better. We got our sales dashboard next. Grant, can you confirm that it's still showing the right screen? We should see a US map and a world map.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So again, if I didn't tell you I've jumped over to the sales dashboard, you might not even know it just because it kind of looks and feels the same as what we were just looking at, but this is another tool, right? So we started by creating a sales tab on our financial dashboard. That was kind of V1 a little bit over a year or so ago. And then everybody said, well, Ben, I want 1 million more sales metrics. And we're like, okay, well, there's too many to put on the financial dashboard. So let's just create a sales dashboard, right? So the first thing you're seeing here is a pretty typical kind of like heat map. So it's going to show you what are you selling by what region. So we've got a US and a world. If you only sell in the US, you can hide the world view. If you only want to see the world view, you can hide the US view. And if you're in Canada, we've got a Canadian specific map that we're working on, nothing yet in production, but should be coming here in the next quarter or two. So as we jump into this, what you can see here is state by state, what are your sales, your credits, your net sales. You can come down here, you can click on Florida, for example, if you'd like, and it's going to show you everything that's been sold in Florida. You can drill into that. Again, there's gonna be a lot of things up here. So you can now analyze your sales by geo, by US, by date, which I'll look at by date real quick. By date's gonna show how much have we sold today, this week, this month, this year. It's gonna show some trailing sales trends by sales and margin. What are your last 6 years of sales trends? So I've only got since 2021, since I think that's probably when I started demoing in this environment. And then your month-to-month sales over the last, or for the current 12 months of the calendar year. So I can see January through September, a little bit in October, and then obviously November and December have not happened yet, so don't have any sales to book there yet. So again, kind of just trending month over month or week or today, kind of can see those things very quickly. This item one is pretty cool. So not only can you see your customers down the left in your item categories across the top, kind of a little grid view. So you can see how much is each customer buying by category. I've also got a high level just category, so I can see how much am I selling computer, hardware, software, small parts. This is going to be a date range. Again, I could do last 30 days and it's going to change how my grid looks. So now if I do last 30 days, it's literally showing me how much have I sold every single day individually. Whereas if I do like the last 12 months, let's say, and it refreshes here real quick, it should do month by month. So now we see 11/1, 12/1, 1/1. So again, item category sales month over month. Again, if I want to see computer hardware, what that makes up, I can just click on it and it's going to show all the posted sales invoice lines in this case, because I want to see all the lines that have been posted for that item category. I don't think I have any subcategories. Let's check. I don't, but if you did, you could click this drop down area and it's going to expand and collapse. So I could expand it and see subcategories. And then down here, I can see specifically item by item, how much I'm selling per month. So I sold almost $100,000 in November, and then it kind of tailed off 7,000, 26,000. Again, just a demo instance. So it's pretty inconsistent, but you can see there kind of what the power would be if you were using this with your own data. And again, I would highly encourage folks to install this off of AppSource. You get a 30-day free trial. And again, 80% of this is going to work without any configuration. Then there's some fine tuning you can do, but plug it in, see what you get from a starting point, and no harm, no foul, since you're in a demo instance for free for 30 days. So at least check out kind of what you could see with this tool, or all the tools that we're going to be taking a look at today. Again, I'll just kind of fly through the rest of these for the sake of time. I think everybody's kind of starting to get the look and feel for how we do dashboarding and how it's directly embedded into BC, but we've also got by dimension, by salesperson, by customer, and by back order. This dimension one's cool because you can pick what 2 dimensions you want to report on. So BC usually kind of defaults to the global 1 and global 2. In this case, you can actually pick. So you can pick what dimension you want on your x-axis and what dimension you want on your y-axis. And then again, that's just going to take a grid view to show, okay, snow and ice removers by person. That's my favorite demo client. So I've got a lot for myself. I got a little for Joe, some for Carly, some for Heather. So again, you can kind of just analyze that quickly. You can also see trends by your global dimensions here. So again, this one is going to be the globals like we talked about, but by customer, by employee, what your trends are, and then just the sales by dimension. So you can pick one dimension down here. It can be any dimension 1 through 8, and just kind of how we're trending month by month over the last 12 months or 30 days or whatever you pick up here in the filters. I'll quickly go through this. Oops, I skipped salesperson. We'll go to customer first though. Customer is just going to show you quickly customer by customer, trends over the last however many months or days that you have selected up here. And then you can see in detail, invoice by invoice. The salesperson is just going to show some quick statistics if you're using the salesperson, who's been selling what over what time period. So again, if I jump in here, I can see how much everybody sold over a date period. I can see their sales by date with a line grid, and then I can see the salespeople kind of in a bar chart here. So if I go last 30 days, again, just kind of showing the filters, you can see that filter based on the salesperson that's selected. Grant, I'll take another pause here real quick and also take a quick sip of water before we go into that history and statistics.
Yeah, of course, Ben. So it looks like we did get a question that came in. Are these matrix views exportable to Excel, meaning the data set at the top of the screen?
Yes, so any data view like you see here, if it's a grid, we've got the open in Excel ability. If it's a chart, we don't, just because there's nothing to drill into. But if it's a data grid, X by Y axis, something like this with dates across the top and data across the left, absolutely, you can open that in Excel.
Beautiful. Jonathan, anything else on your end?
No, this is great so far.
Sweet. All right, we will keep on moving. So the third and final that we'll show today, there's actually 4 dashboards. We've got a warehouse dashboard as well that focuses on vendors and items and things like that. Won't have time for it, but I can send links if anybody's interested. So the third of 3 we'll look at today is called history and statistics. Now, everything we've looked at so far has been kind of high level, right? High level sales, high level financials, kind of give me that top level view and let me drill down. History and statistics is going to be the complete opposite. This is saying, get me as specific as I can for the record that I'm on. So for history and statistics, we mainly focus on items, customers, and vendors. I'm on the customer right now. And as you can see, I'm on customer 100, Snow and Ice Removers LLP. And this is giving me what I would consider anything and everything you need to see for this customer, right? How much have they bought over the last 12 months? What's their current balance? What's their average paydays, fulfillment days, on-time delivery percentage? What are they buying by item category? Again, I can hide these things if I don't want to see them and see kind of what makes up each category. What are their monthly sales over the last 12 months? So kind of had, some influx, then they kind of quieted down, kind of got a little rumbling back, and then all of a sudden in September, they just bought a ton of our stuff, right? So again, can kind of see those trends. How much money sits in AR for them by bucket? What's their AR trend? Again, they're buying a lot of stuff, but it doesn't really look like they're paying us a ton because that AR just keeps going up. What are the items that they're buying? So you can quickly see they're mainly buying Surface 8s from us and professional service and a little bit of some MacBook Airs. So I can go, maybe when that Surface 9 comes out, well, I bet you Snow and Ice Removers, I bet they're going to buy a ton of Surface 9s when they come out because that's typically what they like to buy here, right? So again, can quickly analyze that, where they're located, basic stuff over there. This is every item and some details around those items that have been bought in the last 12 months. So item numbers, description, sales quantities, amounts, that kind of thing. If there's any returns, what the last date we sold this item to them was, and the quantities and sale prices. I like this. This is every open order, every open quote, every open return that this customer has. If they've got jobs, any job planning lines, every posted invoice, and then the change logs. So again, when I say one-stop shop, truly is the one-stop shop, right? Anything you need to see for this customer, either in progress or posted or AR statistics, things like that, you can click on the record, click history and statistics, and you don't have to go to 10 different screens to find what you're looking for. It's all right here. This changelog, probably one of my favorites. I don't know if everybody's used changelog that's attending today, but I've always found it to be kind of a disaster to actually find what I'm looking for, right? You have to go to the changelog entries. It's kind of messy. You don't really know if what you're looking at is actually what you're looking for. What we've kind of envisioned, or what we've tried to do here, is take the change logs, which this is just taking it off the change logs table, and filter down for the customer. So now anything that you're tracking prerequisites that you still have to track the changes. It's not just going to magically track everything, right? But if you've got the change logs tracked on or the field monitoring, both those share the same table, that will show up in change logs. So now anything changing for customer 100 that I'm tracking shows me when it changed, who changed it, what it used to be, what it is now. Was it a modification, deletion, addition, again, whatever you're tracking. And you can just come in here. So if you know something changed for this customer, you want to check on it, just pop in here. You don't have to go to the change logs anymore. You can easily and quickly see here, and it'll tell you if something's changed or not. So it's just, again, pulling off of those out-of-box tables in order to give you a more easy visual or kind of, again, one-stop shop into this data. So some really cool things there. And like I said, if you want to get emails when things change, you can use the field monitoring. It populates the same table. And then not only will you get the email, but it'll track it in here for future purposes if anybody just wants to see it directly in the system. All right, history and statistics part 2. I'm going to jump over to item. So talked about customer. I'm not going to go over vendor just because we won't have time, but you can kind of extrapolate what we saw on the customer side, and pretty much same is going to be on the vendor side with a few exceptions. We got some vendor performance statistics and things like that, but item history. So for this specific item, I go off that Microsoft Surface 8 because I sell a lot in my demo. How many you got on hand? How many is available? What's the average lead time we have to actually get this item? What's my day supply? And what's my average age of inventory? So my day supply is only 4 and it takes me 70 days to get it. If I've got a lot of demand, that's not great, right? My sales and purchase trends, I can see quickly how much I've been buying and how much I've been purchasing. So for a quick month there, I bought 100 and I only sold 10 and I really wasn't selling much. So don't know what happened there. But then all of a sudden in September again, it spiked up quite high there. So it kind of started to even things out again. I can see my inventory level trends for this item, kind of high and low points for the month, what my purchase price trends are for this item. Looks like they're slightly increasing there just by $1 or so. Sales price trends, so purchase price trends have been pretty consistent, but it looks like I'm just all over the place on what I sell this item for. So again, those are kind of things you can qualitatively look at and analyze, right? Why am I selling this to some people for $600 and other people $2,500? Let's just sell it to $2,500 for everybody maybe and make some more money. Or those $600 deals were kind of lost leaders that really helped us get more business, right? So again, this is just giving you the data and then you can use it to make decisions. Similar to the customer, I can see every single open quote, order, and return, both on a sales and purchasing side for this item. So literally, if I wanted to know every single place this item sits in the system, I can come in here and it's going to show me sales quotes, sales orders, purchase orders, sales returns, purchase returns. So again, just a one-stop shop, getting it very easy to see where everything sits. If you've got open jobs that this item's on or production orders, it'll show you those here. Where's this item? So I've got, let's see, Chicago here, I've got 30. Tampa, I got 62. In Dallas, somehow I've got -1. Nothing in transit, no returns, thankfully here. But again, inventory by location, quickly see where your inventory is. If you're selling out of Dallas, maybe you need to call Tampa up and get a few from them or just buy some more. I don't have bins enabled for the demo, but if you had bins, it would show you what bins this item is in specifically. Inventory aging and valuation, so all of the different transfers or purchases, things like that you've done here. It'll show you all of them, what the quantity was, what the quantity remaining was, amounts, costs, things like that. And then again, the change log right here. So what changed on this item? I changed it from 9 to 8. I changed on 3/24, 10 o'clock at night, it looks like. And again, just kind of filtering down there for all of the item history and statistics that we have in there. So we are right at 1:30 Central Time, and we are exactly halfway through the demo. So I'm going to take a quick break for more questions. I see a few coming in again, Grant, if you want to read those off. I don't know why they're so small on my screen, but I'll let you facilitate them, and I'll do the best of my ability to answer them.
100%, Ben. So let's start off with a comment here from Sean that one-stop shop is incredible. So that's awesome to hear. Thank you, Sean. And we're really trying to keep everything on one screen here, make it super easy for users. So you're right on the money there. The question for you, Ben, is this an app from the Business Central Marketplace?
Yep, so all of our apps, we currently have 28 apps that are sold on AppSource right now. So you can go out to, and I can show you real quick, I should have a favorite here. You can go out to AppSource, search in ERP Connect Consulting. I don't know why, but you have to search exactly that if you want to see all of our apps. can't just do ERP Connect, I guess. Microsoft doesn't like that. But type in ERP Connect Consulting, you'll see all of our apps here. You can go into them. The next one we're going to look at is invoice and statement delivery. You can see a quick overview. We've got videos, we've got screenshots, got use cases. If you want to see what other people are saying, or if you want to review it yourself, you can come in here and see what other folks are saying. And then if you want the feature guides or setup guides and things like that, all of those you can download directly from here, open them up. Again, we try to give all of the different mediums in order to facilitate how you learn. I like videos, other people like the step-by-step. So we've got all that in here, and you can follow these in order to make sure that you're successful with the application. Or if you kind of want that white glove approach, we're always happy to deploy a professional service team and kind of get you up and running as fast as possible, just with that that extra touch from our team. So however you prefer to do it, we have the resources out there to do so. But yes, if you want that 30-day trial, go into the app source, click the free trial, download it, and then when you come into, I'll show you real quick. Let's see. Let's get out of here. Let's go into invoice and statement delivery. If you come in here and go to generate demo key, that will give you your 30-day trial. So my expiration date's 2099 because my instance, but if you generate the key, it'll just give you out to like 11/12 right now or something like that. So yep, go there, generate the key, you're good to go.
Just to echo what you went through there, Ben, you know, the content that you guys have produced is very intuitive, you know, very straightforward to do the setups for these, but you all do have a great professional service team that can help support the end users with any setups or support that's needed too. So I think you guys have done a great job with that. Just wanted to reiterate.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. And again, like I said, you know, everybody learns differently. So, you know, some people just don't want to talk to anybody and want to watch the video or read the document. We support that. Some people want, you know, their handheld every step of the way. We also support that. So just let us know what you need and we'll make sure that you get taken care of. All right, any other questions out there? Otherwise, I'm going to jump into our second half, which forget the dashboards now. We're moving on to productivity and automation.
It's all you, Ben. Chat box is clean.
Awesome. Feel free to interrupt if anything else comes through as I go. So next three tools, all going to be focused on doing things easier, faster, better in Business Central. The first one we're going to focus on is invoice and statement delivery. This is definitely one of our flagship applications, definitely the most downloaded and the most widely used currently. We have it not only in our US tenants, but we also have it in 5 different localizations, W1 localization being one of them, if we have any friends overseas as well that are looking to deploy this app in their environment. So kind of the bread and butter of invoice and statement delivery is to get your customers their invoices, their credit memos, their payment receipts, their statements, and their payment reminders in a more automated fashion. So one of the first questions I typically get is, well, Ben, can't I send emails out of Business Central? Well, sure, you can do a lot of things out of Business Central, but they're not always the most efficient, right? So I've found that this saves, we've gotten some feedback that this saves their AR department, you know, 50% of the time they used to be spending by automatically doing some things. So the first thing I'll note here is email upon posting. So what a lot of people are doing is they're posting their sales orders, posting their sales invoices, and immediately when those post now, you don't have to do anything else. That email at that same time is automatically going out to your customer. You don't have to go through the dialog boxes. You don't have to say, yeah, that email's right, or this subject and body look right. All of that's happening in the setup. So you can just come in here, set up your subject, set up your body. This is what's going to go out to every customer when you send it. If you want a specific customer to have a different body, you can do so in the customer kind of setup. But what we typically recommend is set up the global first, kind of these settings, start to use it, and then get more granular and fine tune things, right? That typically works the best. And that's kind of option 1 is email upon posting. We have 2 more options. The second option is you can turn that off and all of these invoices will go to a dashboard. So if I go to every app has a 3-letter acronym, like I said, so this one's ISD, invoice statement delivery. If I come out to my invoice delivery dashboard, this is option 2. So anytime I post an invoice now, the invoice is coming out to this dashboard. It's showing me if it's been emailed, if it's still pending, when it was emailed, who emailed it. I can click on this document if I want to see, kind of like go into it. Again, I can quickly see that. If I come back out here, I can also select like multiple of them and just click print send email selected, and that's going to send out all of those emails. So again, just quicker and easier ways in order to facilitate sending those emails out to your customers. The third way is through a job queue. So if you don't like either of those options and you want it to post but not send, and then automatically send at the end of the day or end of the week, you can just send everything as you go. And then at the end of the day, that job queue will be running and it will just automatically send everything out at the end of the day. You can also copy yourself if you want, and you can kind of mask who this is sent from. So I've got it for a assigned default scenario, but you can use your emailing scenarios to select here. You can have it appear as if it's coming from the salesperson or the creator, different things like that. Only prerequisite there is that if you use one of those, that the salesperson would need like an email set up. Of course, you can't I just can't send from anybody that I want, right? You have to have that email still set up in Business Central for security purposes, but you do have the options to mask that as if it's sent from somebody else. As we come down here, credit memo and payment receipt, going to work pretty much the same as invoice. So you have the option to email upon posting. You have the option to CC yourself, put an email subject, email body, all that fun stuff. Same on the payment receipt. One thing I like to call out here as well, we do get a lot of great requests from our partners and our clients. One of the requests we literally added this week, which was the ability on the attachment to either include the payment receipt. So let's say somebody pays me $1,000. Before, what we had was just, you'd get an email that says, hey, we've received your $1,000, thank you, right? And it sent them a little receipt that says $1,000. What we added this week, actually, based on a client request, was this paid invoices. So now when I get $1,000, they get an email that says, thank you for your $1,000. Here are the 2 invoices we applied that $1,000 to, or 1 or 5 or however many it is, right? So I say that because if anybody has recommendations as they go through this, those are definitely things that we want to hit our suggestion box, because we're always looking to add new features and new functions that make our product better and stronger. So highly encourage that. These next 2, statement and past due reminder. So the first thing we looked at is you're doing a transaction and you're posting it and you want it to go out at the time it's being posted, right? Statements and past due reminders are kind of after the fact. So now everything's been posted, and 30 days from now, we need to send statements to all of our customers, right? So you can just turn this on and put it on a job queue, and at the end of the month or whatever day you define, all those statements will be sent out. If you don't want someone to get a statement, you can turn that off at the customer level. I'll show that here in a second. And if you want to send 0 balance statements, you can turn that on if you'd like. I've got that off because I don't want to send them, but if you do, turn it on, go for it. Past due reminders, this is probably my favorite feature in invoice and statement delivery, because this is where we're seeing people's day sales outstanding decrease and their cash flow increase, right? So what past due reminders is doing is it's taking that kind of manual effort to follow up with people and say, hey, where's my money? It does this automatically, right? So in this case, 2 days after, and you can define whatever you like here, 2 days after that invoice was due, it's going to send them this first email, and it's going to say, hey, maybe kind of friendly, hey, you missed your date. Can you just let us know when the payment's coming, or make prompt payment today? Here's a link, right? Then every 7 days after that, it can be maybe not so friendly and say, hey, we're going to suspend your service if you don't pay us. This is your second notice. Please pay us today. You can say whatever you want. It's just going to be in this email body, subject, and memo over here. So again, I think that's kind of what mine says. It says something like, let's see, yeah, please make prompt payment in order to avoid late fees or suspension. Whereas the first one is just going to say, hey, your invoice was due, can you pay us, right? So by turning this on, you don't have to do anything. All it's going to do in the background is when those dates are triggered. So anytime something's 2 days overdue, it's going to send that first email, and then every 7 days after that, it's going to send those follow-ups until that remaining amount goes to 0. Once the remaining amount goes to 0, it falls off the list, and then you're good to go, because we're not following up on things that people have paid, right? So that's the past due reminder functionality. And then this last piece is this recurring documents. So if you're using the copy document functionality or recurring sales line, those features are good, but they're manual, right? So what recurring documents allows us to do is set up a bunch of different invoice templates or a bunch of different sales orders, and I'll show this as we go into the demo. So let's go into the recurring dashboard, recurring sales documents here. So here, you'd actually set up the document. It looks exactly like a sales order or sales invoice. And the only thing we're really adding is these recurring settings. So it's going to look like your general journals and allow you to say, okay, on the 1st of every month, create a transaction for me and leave it open. Or you could release it, or you could even post it. So if you want to get really automated, you could create and post these automatically on the 1st day of every month. And then if that send on post is turned on, you could literally have your recurring documents being created automatically on November 1st, let's say, and then because they're creating and posting, posting's automatically triggering an email to go out as well. So you can see that kind of flow end to end for using our tools in order to kind of fully automate that recurring process. Now, if I go into, let's just jump into a sales, let's do a sales order. And I'll just show you kind of how easy it is to get those emails out and kind of the effect of going through this without having to manually process anything. So let's create a new one real quick. And it'll also be a good chance. My next tool that we'll show is advanced notifications. So we'll also showcase some of the advanced notifications here. So pop-up notes, this is part of our next tool we're gonna show. Pop-up note coming from the customer, make sure the shipping orders are correct when going out. And I'm gonna come down here and do a quick item. And you can also see those advanced notifications are being saved over here to the right. Oh, no, I want 1017. Let's do this because this should have a pop-up note. There we go. Make sure to upsell the keyboard and the mouse. Great. I think I had some in Tampa from my history and statistics session. So we'll make sure that we go out of Tampa because Dallas was negative if I remember correctly. And again, this is just a basic sales order. My pop-up notes are popping up and saving over here. And again, all I'm gonna do is post this, ship it and invoice it. This is all out-of-box stuff, right? You didn't see any emails pop up, no magic tricks happening here. All that stuff's happening behind the scenes based on my invoice and statement delivery setup. So now if I come to my ISD dashboard and I hear my email dinging behind the scenes, so we'll pull that up in a second. Let's go to invoice and delivery dashboard. Quickly, you can see it's 142 here. This was sent at 142, 10:12, Ben sent it. How was it sent? It was emailed. And if I come over here, I can see that email. So this takes those wildcards that I had. Thanks for being a valued client. Please find our invoice 694 for snow and ice. Amount due is 1,300. The due date's 10/19. Click here if you want to pay it. Here's my little shameless marketing plug that it was sent via invoice and statement delivery and that you should download it. And then here's that invoice that they got. So again, this would just be whatever invoice format that you have set up on your customer, or if you don't have anything set up for your customer, it's just going to pull from the global level. If I need to send it again, I would just come back into invoice and statement delivery, click send email selected. It's going to say, hey, you've already sent this. Are you sure you want to resend it? I'm going to say yes. That's just kind of a safeguard. And again, I could send multiple of those at the same time. And if I come out here again, I also got a sales order shipment alert. It looks like this was from advanced notifications, which we'll get into here in a second. All right, just refreshed it and it looks like it just popped in, but just kind of showing again how that works. I sent it again from our dashboard and that should be right here. So again, just another copy of that same invoice. Before we jump into advanced notifications, I know I've got about 18 minutes left, so let's go through this quickly. Customers, I talked about some configurations that you can make at the customer level for invoice and statement delivery. So again, automate, automate, automate in terms of how your invoices, your statements, your payment reminders, all of that are being delivered. If I come down here, I've got these document delivery options. So here's where you can define the AR email that those documents are going to go to. If you want different documents to go to different people, you can do so here. You don't have to if this is all blank. It's just going to default from whatever you have here. For statements, you have different options. You can skip sending statements. Don't send this customer any statements. You can send them just a statement. You can send them statements with the invoice attachments. On invoices, you can consolidate or not. The consolidation, if you select multiple in that dashboard, what it will do is it will consolidate them all into one email and just put multiple attachments or one attachment, depending on what you select. So again, efficiency for the client, they get one email, they've got all their attachments there. Some of these are just kind of like more user defined. If you want to only send invoices to them on a certain day of the week, you can do so. If you want to have a custom email subject or body, you can do so. And if you want to have overrides on posting, you can do so here as well. So just some configurations and things you can do there on the customer level. None of them are necessary, but you can use them if you want to get a little bit more granular with your customers. All right, so I'm just gonna tee myself up in the posted sales invoices for our next session. But the next thing we'll jump into real quick is advanced notifications. So advanced notifications We've already seen our pop-up notes. We saw those on that last sales order that we did. So we have the ability to do pop-up notes on for items, for customers, and for vendors. You can pop them up or ignore them. You can save them or not. So we saw everything being turned on, right? We popped them up and we saved them on the document. I know there's a ton of other things out there that do pop-up notes, but I just didn't feel notifications, tool for notifications would be complete. So again, trying to provide that one-stop shop like we talked about earlier. You get the Business Central toolbox and you kind of have all these things just at your fingertips. You don't have to download a bunch of other tools. So pop-up notes, self-explanatory. That's area 1 of 3 for notifications. Area 2 of 3 is event-driven notifications. So something happens, send me a notification or send me an email, right? Purchase orders received, sales orders shipped, prepayments received, inventory goes negative, inventory is adjusted, credit limit has been either reached or you can set a threshold. So in this case, I've got a 90% threshold. So let's say your credit limit's $100,000. When I hit 90,000, I'm getting an email saying, hey, you know, your credit limit's approaching, you're within that threshold. Maybe go follow up and ask for some more money. Likely invoice and statement delivery is already turned on. So they're getting the emails, but they're still not paying you. So somebody probably needs to call in order to get that credit limit kind of fixed or get them to pay a few invoices so that gets brought down. The other one on an event-driven standpoint is job queues. So I always found this to be an issue, right? My currencies are on job queues or my posting activities in the middle of the night are on job queues and a job queue fails. Well, nobody's getting notified. They're just failing and nobody's restarting them, right? Unless they check and then realize, hey, our job queues haven't run for the last 7 days and none of our currencies have been updated, right? Advanced notifications, you turn that on, that job queue fails, you're immediately getting an email saying, hey, job queue failed, go restart it or check it out, right? Then you could be prompted to go check it out, see what went wrong. We've got some additional notifications on if quotes are expiring, sales orders haven't been shipped, purchase orders haven't been received or invoiced, things like that. And all these notifications, you saw me put some images and things like that in. If you don't turn this on, it'll just store it against the Business Central database, which if you don't have a huge database, that might be okay. But if you do, we can enable Azure Blob Storage and it'll save all of the images and text and all that kind of thing in Azure so it doesn't hit your Business Central tenant. So that's area 2. And then area 3, there's not really any setup besides making sure that your users are set up here, which again, we can kind of look at that as we did with the financial dashboard. So there is a little bit of setup. You just got to tell them what users can use advanced notifications. But that third area is ad hoc notifications. So I'll show what one of those can do right here. So let's go into that transaction we just did. We see here, let that pop up real quick. All right, pop-up notes, keyboard, mouse, shipping address. Okay, those are all still there. This is an ad hoc note. I add the note. I come in here, something's up. I say, Ben, please check this out and make sure they pay us today, right? I'm also gonna demo the rich text HTML. So let's come here. I can also add an image. Again, this is an ad hoc or on the fly note. I'm gonna save that, close this. And now that's also being saved over to the right-hand side here, right? Saying at Ben, okay, that's great, but how do I get notified, right? Come back into my email. Check this out. At Ben, please check to make sure that they pay us today. Got that logo, and I even have a link. So now, let's say Grant's in here. Grant needs me to check on something. He can tag me. I get an email. I click the link. That link pops me right back open into Business Central. And I can go, oh, okay. Well, now I have this transaction here that I need to look at. I need to make sure that they make payment today. And I can quickly go check it out, check the lines. I can see the note. And again, kind of everything is held over there on the right-hand side, but I'm also getting emails. You can also do notes directly in Business Central that you can kind of read in an inbox. So a lot of different features and functions there that are enabled in order to allow you to more easily communicate internally with people on your team. There is the option to send these externally. The only thing that obviously is not going to work there is the link. We take the link off because if it's sending external, those people can't get in BC anyway, so let's not confuse them with a link that they can't access, right? But if you wanted to send external, you can set up an external email address or a shared email box. When you email that box, it's sending it out to everybody in that distribution group. So again, a lot of cool different things here. Now we've gone over invoice and statement delivery, kind of how to automate that whole AR side of things, advanced notifications, how to do pop-up notes, event-driven notes, and ad hoc notes to more easily communicate with your team and kind of streamline the back and forth there. And then the last tool I'm going to have time for today is going to be our advanced accounting. So a handful of different features in here, but the ones I want to really highlight are the banking. So the first thing you'll see if you come out to the bank card on advanced accounting, we have the ability to do bank logos, signatures, and signature thresholds. So if you're printing checks and over $2,000, you don't want the signature to print, but everything under $2,000, that's what this scenario would be. Over 2,000 bucks, it's going to make me sign it. Under 2,000, it's going to automatically print my signature directly on there. We also have kind of a pre-built selection of a handful of different checks based on banks. We've got Wells Fargo, Citi, Orange Bank, some others here that we're working on, Bank of Rhode Island. So what I like to say here is, if you have any checks that you need to process out of Business Central with blank check stock, with Micker and all that good stuff, what we do is a flat rate per check. So we do 500 bucks if the check doesn't already exist, kind of in our attempt, one, to get you kind of a cost-effective effort in order to get checks and print checks out of the system, and two, kind of, you know, as we're building this out, we're building a repository out in advanced accounting for different check formats. So if anybody has any checks that they need to create or print, let us know. We'd be happy to add them into advanced accounting. Then all you have to do is come in here, select the report, and all of your checks will print with all the right Micker format and specifications and things like that. So again, if you're already using Wells Fargo or Citibank or anything like that, you're good to go. If you have anything else, let us know. We're working on a few right now as well. So all good things there. And then the final thing is our payment remittance dashboard. So if you're sending payments to vendors out of Business Central, if you're doing that notch a file, if you're exporting those ACH files and then uploading them to your bank, likely you also need to be sending remittances to your vendors. Now, again, yes, there are ways to send remittances to vendors. Is it the easiest way possible? I don't think so. If you're okay with it, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality, you can leave it. But if you're looking for something bigger and better, we've got two things we can do with payment remittances. One, on the actual payment journal itself, we have the ability to post and send, kind of like we did on invoice and statement delivery. So you post your payment journal, and those remittances are automatically going out to your vendor at that time. And then the other thing I always found kind of difficult to do was, okay, the remittances were sent, they want another remittance, or I want to check on my remittances. Never really an easy way to kind of get a view for all of that. So what we did here is we built a payment remittance dashboard, and this is going to show every payment remittance that has gone out, what the date was, document number, the amount, if it's been sent or if it's pending, when it was sent, who sent it, and then you also have the ability to send email selected here. So whatever you have selected, you can click send, and it will send out another payment remittance to that vendor. So maybe they said they never got it. You can come to this dashboard and resend those remittances. So we have not built anything to pay directly out of Business Central. There's some other tools that we use from other partners of ours that can do so. So if anybody's interested in just automating their AP in general from a payment standpoint, let us know. But this is definitely a first good step in terms of getting your vendors notified that, hey, your money's on the way. So with that, we're right at about 1:55 here. So Grant, I'm going to jump back into the PowerPoint so we can shut this down. Let's jump back here. Let me know if you can see that live demo again, the live demo on the PowerPoint.
100%, Ben.
Perfect. And the only other, Grant, before I let you jump into this, the only other thing that we didn't have time for today that I really like to mention is our advanced prepayments tool. That's probably our other big seller that we didn't have time for today. But advanced prepayments, if anybody's using prepayments either on a sales side or a vendor side at an order level, or even at a deposit level at the top level for that customer that can apply to multiple orders, that's another one of our best sellers. It really helps automate and streamline and just make it easier to use prepayments in the system. So feel free to check that one out on our website as well. But with that, Grant, I'll let you bring us home, talk a little bit about pricing and what the next steps are that people can take to start optimizing Business Central in their environment.
100%, Ben. So thank you very much for the demo there. For everyone on the call, every single extension that you've seen today and all 22 of our other extensions that we have on AppSource, you can get 30-day free trials for all of them. So we definitely suggest you work with your consultant, work with your solutions rep or your sales rep over at sa.global to kind of get those into your test environment. If you are interested in purchasing any of our extensions, they range in price from $600 a year to $1,800 a year individually. That is per tenant. So you can have unlimited users and companies. And if you do want to purchase all the extensions in a bundle, you can get every extension we talked about today for $2,400 a year in our Essentials bundle. And of course, we are doing our Unlimited bundle for $3,600 a year. That is all 28 extensions. If you are interested in other things like advanced prepayments. All right, Ben, if you could hop over to the next slide. We're going into the Q&A portion. We know we got a lot of good questions during this presentation. So Ben, Jonathan, and myself, we're going to stick around for the next couple of minutes. But Jonathan, I figured you would be the best person to close us out on this one.
Yeah, every time I see you guys present, I learn something new about your solutions. So I really appreciate the time you took to prepare for and present your applications today. And I think a great value that you all bring to the table is you're constantly adding, whether it's a new application or enhancing the ones that you already have. So you can really drive a lot of value with the tools that you bring to the table. One question, because you mentioned licensing or the it's per tenant. From a full user and team member user perspective, is it essentially the same for both of those types of users?
Yeah, so the licensing cost is going to be per tenant, like you mentioned. So you can have 5 users or 500 users. You can have 1 company or 10 companies. It doesn't really matter as long as they have a license to get into Business Central. They'll be good to go. In terms of, I can guarantee with the Essentials and the Premium, you'll be able to do everything with all of our apps. Obviously, with the Teams license, it's more read-only. So there's certain things like if we get into our CRM app or our project management app and some of these other apps, prepayments where you're actually physically doing transactions and things like that. Obviously, if you can't do that in Business Central, you're not going to still be able to do it with a team license with our app. So there are some limitations there, but general kind of feel is if you're licensed in Business Central, there's no additional costs in order to license different types of users. It's all just included with that one set price. We try to make it as easy as possible.
That's great. And I think the other pricing plug here is your current rates are through the end of the year, so there's some incentive, I guess, to try to make a move on some of these before we cross over to 2024. Is that correct?
Yep, that's exactly correct. And definitely the most value there is in that unlimited bundle. So 2 things we're doing. One, that price, that $3,600 is good through the end of the year. And also, if you were to buy it today, your first year wouldn't end until 12/31/2024. So you'd get technically a couple free months there. And then the price is going up to $4,800 on January 1st of next year. So just with our increase of apps from about 7 when we started the year to about 28 now, obviously that's reflected in the increase in price as well, but we still have all the a la carte options as well if somebody's just interested in doing one of them. None of our dashboard pricing is changing or anything like that. A few of our other apps like invoice and statement delivery are going up from like 900 to 1200. So there are some smaller price increases in some apps, but overall, yeah, I would highly encourage folks to get those orders in before the end of the year so they can take advantage of our next couple months of pricing. That's still good through the end of the year.
And still a great price point for where you're going to. Been monitoring the questions along with Grant. I don't see anything new, so I think the last plug that I had in mind was the Summit User Group Conference next week. So sa.global will be there representing. We'll have a big booth, but also our friends at ERP Connect Consulting, you'll also be there with a booth, correct?
Yep, that is correct. We'll be booth 1750. It's kind of towards the back left if you walk in from the main entrance.
Excellent. And I got a help out from our marketing group. So we're booth 1603 in the front left of the the conference room there. So hopefully you all will be there and you can come check us out and talk in person. But great presentation. Again, really appreciate the time in presenting to our clients. So reach out to us if you have more questions. We'd love to continue the conversation. Otherwise, I hope everybody has a great rest of your day.